Hey guys, just wanted to share something with you. I had went to God and I was asking him some questions because I had went through a season some years ago. Well, I can't say years ago, where I was constantly on this roller coaster. It was times where I was up high, excited about the things of God, excited about life, and just excited about my future in general. And then there are other points where I felt depressed, I felt defeated, I had anxiety, and I questioned every move that I made. God, is this you? Is it me? And paralyzing myself from moving forward. And not even a day later after being at this plateau, but moments later, it was always, something that was coming against me to try to keep me in this perpetual cycle of this roller coaster that I'm up one day, down one day, up one day, down one day. And like in a natural, I hate roller coasters and it literally make me sick. So when I started to feel those feelings again over the weekend, I was like, okay, God, what is going on? What am I doing? Rather than just looking back and say, whoa, woe is me like I used to. God, I just don't know, and just creating this whole big pity party. I was like, nope, God, what am I not doing? So I went to the story of Elijah and Jezebel in 1 Kings chapter 16 through chapter 18. It's a whole story about how Jezebel married the king of Israel, Ahab, and in marrying him, she brought in all her idol worship ideas into the kingdom of Israel and even killed off the prophets of God so that the worship of Baal was a prominent thing there in Israel at that time. And so God sent Elijah there to kind of like, okay, Ahab, you're the king, you know the things of God, so okay, I'm going to deal with you by causing a drought there on your land. And so God gave Elijah the ability to speak that thing, and it caused a drought. And in the midst of the drought being in Israel, God still looked out for Elijah. He fed him by the brook. Even when the brook dried out, he sent him to the widow's house. And the widow was prepared to die because she was in the midst of the drought as well. So when Elijah came to the house, if you really have to read the story. So again, Elijah spoke over her, saying that because you're taking care of me, you and your son will not lack for anything. And then her son got sick, and then he prayed for the son, and he got healed. And then just story after story, a couple of other incidents happened. And then the one about him going against the prophets of Baal and how that whole transpired. And even in that, just I believe, I can't remember if it was 450 or 150 of the prophets of Baal, Elijah killed. Because the thing was, whomever, whichever God speaks by fire is the God of Israel. So, of course, again, read the story. But the whole thing is, God gave authority to Elijah to speak things into existence. And he even spoke, or either Elijah spoke to Ahab after the whole incident with the prophets of Baal being killed, that the drought would end at his word. God gave him that much authority, and Elijah walked in it. So as I was reading the stories, and then the encounter that he had with Jezebel, and then I saw the part where he fled, only because Jezebel, all she did was send a message to him that she was going to kill him. She didn't, come there with an army or anything like that. She just spoke that she was going to kill him. And so I'm thinking, like, why did he get afraid of her? When he killed all of her prophets, he was able to speak that the drought was going to come and that the drought would be released according to his word. He healed the widow's son. He spoke into the widow's life, and everything that he spoke as far as that she would not lack for anything that came to pass. God fed him by the brook, provided water for him, provided food for him, and led him along this whole journey and never left him. What in the world did this woman have to say to him that caused him to sit up under a tree and say, "Oh God, I want to die. I want to give up"? What was that all about? And then I thought about it. I was like, man, that's how I sound sometimes. God, I'm tired. Nobody cares, and people are lying on me. They create these thoughts and images about me that aren't true, and they base a reality of how they view me. All this kind of craziness. And I was like, that's probably everything that Elijah was thinking about. And then, but when God came to him and asked him, dude, what are you doing here? In this place. And I believe that when he asked him that, he wasn't saying in the physical location, but what are you doing here in your mind because of everything that just transpired? What are you doing? And you're a prophet, you're my man. What are you doing here in this place of self-pity? And so Elijah's response was, he went down the whole encounter of everything that Israel had did. Israel, had these idol gods, and pretty much they forsaken you. This is what all of Israel is doing. And I'm the only one that's left that's standing up for you. And so Elijah went to sleep, and then God asked him again, what are you doing here? Again, not the physical location, but mentally, what are you doing here? And he said the exact same thing again. And so I thought about it. I was like, okay, God, what are you saying here? And it wasn't that Elijah feared Jezebel because she said she was going to kill him. It wasn't that at all. It was that his mindset was on other things than God. He had totally forgot about the God that came down and burnt up the altar, the same God that led him to the widow's house, the same God that he saw raise the widow's son from the dead, the same God that led him to the brook to be fed, he forgot all about that. All he was focusing on at that moment was what Israel was doing and what they weren't doing, and that he was all alone. And when I thought about that, I was like, wow, that's how depression, anxiety, insecurity set up when we forget who God is and what he's done and what he's given us authority to do. Elijah had the ability to speak over the nation that the drought was going to come. And it was only at his word that the drought was released, that that they were delivered from it, that it ceased, was at his word. God gave him that authority. And then I remember, wait a minute, God gave me that same authority too, to speak a thing into existence according to his word. And then I looked at in Isaiah, where God said that he would keep us in perfect peace from anxiety, from depression, from insecurities, when we keep our mind on him, what he's called us to do, what he's already given us to do. God's not coming back down to do anything. He said that he has already given us everything pertaining to life, the life that we're living right now, and godliness, the ability to walk out the thing that God has given us to do. He's already provided all of that. All these insecurities and anxieties come when we forget what he's already told us to do. So when I was looking at the story of Elijah, because for years I was always taught that he feared Jezebel, and I was like, no, it cannot be that he feared this woman just because of what she spoke. It's gotta be more than that. And for at least for me, what I received from it was he forgot. He focused in on Israel rather than focusing in on the God of Israel. And that's how we get tripped up, when we forget who God is. So I want to remind us and encourage us, because man, that encouraged me too. Because I'm like, God, I don't want to keep going on these roller coasters. It's sickening. It's literally sickening to keep going on these roller coasters. So God, show me how to get off of this perpetual cycle of ups and downs, ins and outs. And I'm not saying that I've perfected it, but I've got the remedy now. I have a tool. It's always been there, but that's what revelation is when we, even though we know what the Word of God says, the revelation of it is when we know how to apply it and walk that thing out. So I'm thankful for the revelation that I don't have to stay on a roller coaster. And I'm encouraging you as well. You don't have to stay on a roller coaster of ups and downs, ins and outs, happy, sad, depression, I mean, all of that stuff. We don't have to do that because God has given us the remedy. By keeping our mind on Him, He promised us that He would give us perfect peace, a peace that surpasses all understanding in the midst of everything that we go through. God has promised us His peace. He said, my peace I give to you, not like the world does. The world that gives, the things that the world gives us are temporal, and that's more of happy than peace, because happy means it's contingent on what's happening. But God gives us a peace in the midst of a storm, as long as we keep our mind on Him. So I encourage you, baby, get off the roller coaster. We don't have to ride that ride no more. Keep your mind on Christ, on the things that He's done, the things He's called you to do, and the things He's put in your hands to do. He has given us so much. All we have to do is walk it out and believe that what He's done is a finished work. It's a complete work. He's given it to us. We just got to believe it and receive it. Be encouraged today. Get off that roller coaster and do what God has called you to do. Love you.